Thank you. My name is Evelyn Megume. I'm Senior Environment Officer with Kasese Municipal Council. I oversee all matters on environment and conservation within the municipality. Wow, what I care about the most, yes, most important is the increase of vegetation cover, because I know that everything starts with vegetation. If there is vegetation, you have fresh air. If you have vegetation, you will get water. If you have the vegetation, you will control erosion. Yeah. If you have vegetation, you will attract biodiversity. If you have vegetation, I mean, you are good to go. Surely you have life. Yeah. My biggest priority is with the increase of vegetation cover, because I know that with that we can, as I talked about the water, you will conserve the wetlands with vegetation. You will be able to protect the river banks with vegetation. You will be able to manage the hill slopes if you have vegetation, because all these tend to, trap and allow for percolation. Once you allow percolation to take place, you achieve a lot. You avail water for the future, both in the underground, on the surface, and in the atmosphere. So really, vegetation is key. What we also emphasize most about is the protection of the wetlands and the river banks. Yeah. So, but of course, we also we don't just look at the environment without the human being. We appreciate the fact that a human being or the people are part of the environment. And again, it is the people who are responsible for doing all that is required. As an office, a department, I can't be able to go out there and do all the work on my own. I need to engage the local community. If they do not understand what I am doing, I am at a loss. They will not do it with me. And there is nothing that you can do alone that will stand. Yes, so yes, I need to increase vegetation cover. I need to support the wetland ecosystems and to engage the community appropriately. Their livelihood depends on it. They can manage they can be able to invent, to innovate and make use of environmental resources, natural resources, to improve their livelihood, as long as they are taking care of the environment. Yeah. When it comes to books, there is something on landforming, because it takes care of all the components of the environment, the way the land has been formed and how you can take care of the land depending on its terrain, on its water quantity, on its the vegetation availability, type of soil, all that. Many times, we don't always go back to the books because the ecosystems are interrelated, and you only need to know how, the interrelatedness to ensure that you coordinate all the other aspects so that they work together. Wow, favorite plant. I never really thought about it, but probably if I can say something, it is the citrus, orange or lemon, that plant. I realize I have about 5 plants of it in my own compound. Why? Because one, it is a tree. It will give me the shade. It will give me the green, the fresh air. But I like citrus a lot. It's a food. It's a medicine. The citrus, the orange, you consume good components of it, and you have, it increases alkalinity in the body. That's what they say. But you can get rid of the flu and the cough with the citrus, at least the lemon, boosts immunity, and cleansing toxins in the body, the citrus will do it. So I think I love citrus a lot. It has a beautiful scent, yeah, and I think for those reasons I really love it. I like its juice. You can have the leaves in tea. Yeah, you can make a cup of tea using the leaves of the citrus tree plant. And the other thing is it doesn't have, its roots are not destructive. It has tap root, basically. So you will not have a problem building it close to your house. It will not destroy or crack the foundation or the walls of the building. So really, I love the citrus plant. The main challenge. What I can say, we have quite a number of challenges. Quite a number. But many times the environment management job is quite a challenge because you are getting the people out of what they want to do naturally. You're kind of fighting against their desire, and every time you're on the opposition, you find challenges. People will not always agree with you, maybe because of the level of understanding of the components of the environment and the way they work. People would like to go on and dig the hill slopes without any soil and water conservation interventions. They would like to simply find trees along the road or in your own land, and they think they have a right to them, and that is not so. You know, they want to, I will not say they are greedy, but because people depend entirely, almost entirely, on natural resources, and as long as you are deterring them from indiscriminate utilization, it is they feel that you're opposing them. So that is a big challenge, because every time you're trying to restore this, they're taking you back by unsustainable utilization. Whereas we are doing our best to train, to sensitize, to get them to know what this means, what we require, and how it is going to help them, it is not quick, because they want quick gain. Yeah, they want food, and if they must grow food, they need a place which has water. Kasese is a dry area, for example, so they will want to go to close to the wetland. They want to go to the riverbank, and that alone is destructive in its own way. So because of that, you find that the level of uptake of the community on practices of sustainable, sustainable environment management or utilization, the uptake is low. Yeah. However, of course, we are doing our best to get the people to know what to do. But of course, we have, as I said earlier, we have many challenges. The other challenge is the harsh weather conditions. You have been to Kasese, I don't know, probably it's your first time to be in Kasese. I'm sure you find Kasese quite hot. Yes, Kasese is along the equator. It is on the Rift Valley floor or bed, East African Rift Valley, Western Arm. And because it has these conditions, it is, by the way, also on the leeward side of the Rwenzori Mountains. So it receives dry winds, devoid of any moisture anymore. It has already it has dropped all the moisture on the other side of the mountain, so we get the winds. So we have persistently high temperatures. During the rain season, it will rain in the morning, and by midday, it's already this hot. It's already 29, 30 degrees Celsius. And that's quite a high temperature for your area, where even 4 degrees Celsius is high. In Kasese, we go to 30, 33 degrees Celsius. So because of these harsh weather conditions, our tree planting efforts are jeopardized. you know, even when we time, like last season, we did a lot in tree planting. The season, which ideally is supposed to start in the middle of May, probably, middle of Feb, probably that is a climate change challenge. Ideally, the season is supposed to start in May, rather in around 15th of February. Here in Kasese, it will start close to the end of March. That's a whole month lost. And it will probably rain until the end of April. And the rains will cease. May will be devoid of rain. Starting June to middle of August is usually a dry season. So if we already have May, June, and July, those are 3 months. If you planted any trees in the March-April rain season, they received rain for only a month and a half. And for the rest of the months, it's dry. Those trees will really be struggling to make it in life. So several of them will die off and we lose that harvest. So we have, because of the extreme high temperatures, we have a challenge with the survival of the trees that we plant. So that's a big loss. And that is surely a great challenge, because you will not go around watering or irrigating every tree. Some of these trees are on the hill slopes. You cannot go up to do the irrigation. The technology alone is lacking. So you're not going to engage in these other things. Even the trees we've planted on the road, we are depending on the rain. If the rain stops early, then we'll have most of the trees being lost because of lack of moisture. So yeah, that is challenge number 2. Because of probably the same thing, we have more and more people moving to do agriculture in the fragile ecosystems. That is along the wetland where they are sure of some water, maybe for irrigation, and and also along the riverbank. And you know, once they do the agriculture along the riverbank, they tend to go overboard. They would like to acquire as much land as they can so that they increase the yield, they increase the harvest. And that in that way, they end up degrading the riverbanks and the wetlands. And once those are lost, then you are losing the water as well. And yet this water is supposed to contribute to the rain, to contribute to the underground aquifer, to contribute to, you know, the process, the water cycle. Even when it comes to the dew, it is the water, surface water, groundwater available that contributes to the dew. You understand? And yet that too is a component of the water cycle. It is a contribution to the water that supports the cooling, the surface cooling. So when the water in the wetlands is lost, in the rivers is reduced, then you usually get the vegetation all going away. And when you have an increase of water volume in the river, any sudden increase will trigger a flash flood, because the river banks are already bare. The wetland vegetation or riverbank vegetation has been cleared, and naturally you have floods because there is nothing to deter, no barrier along the banks. Yeah, basically I will say those are the challenges. But as we continue to sensitize the community, I have a hope, because today when we speak to them, we are not telling them, do this, do this, do this. We are simply saying, this is our land. This is the only planet where we can live. If we have to continue with life, this is what we must do. If we don't do this, we will go beyond the bend. We may never return to a better situation. That means there will be no life for our children, our own grandchildren. It will be very harsh for them. So we are trying to appeal to their attitude. They need to know that this environment resource is not just for utilization in any way. Yes, use it, but be mindful that the future depends on it. So this is our intended. This is now our new path of guidance to the local community. But of course, we also let them know that there are alternatives. You don't always have to go to the wetland. You can make a mat out of a poly bag, yes, out of straws. Instead of going to pick wetland material, you can do something else. You can, for example, use a bag every day to the market instead of buying polythene bags, 5 of them, to throw them around every day. You don't have to dump to throw every polythene bag you've obtained anywhere. You can have a specific place for it, because this is your home. If you keep your home dirty, you'll be the first to get sick. The first challenge will come to you. Your own drainage channel will be blocked, and you need all this water, So it's a new approach of sensitization to appeal to the attitude. If we can get the attitude to be transformed, we'll have hit it. That's what we're looking at. Actually, we discourage burning as much as possible. In Kasese, there is no recycling plant, but we have middlemen who are able to buy back polythene and plastic bottles. They will give you a sum for clean polythene bags, for clean bottles. And these are readily available in the environment. If anyone who could go around picking would make some money. So we usually appeal to the people. So you realize that it is always only the street kids, street children, because we have a number of them, homeless children, who pick what they can, to get some survival. Of course, a kilogram of the plastics doesn't fetch quite a sum, but it is something. If you have 10 kilograms, you'll have a meal. If you have 10 kilograms of plastics, you'll be able to afford a meal. And I'm sure there is more than just 10 in the local environment. So we encourage the people to collect the plastics, to sort at home. Personally, in my own home, I have a specific place for the plastics, and I have encouraged the community. If you have a separate Ghana bag for the kavera, for the plastic bag, all you need to do is to squish the plastic bag and throw it in. It will be very hard for this Ghana bag to fill, because these things are soft. And surely by the time it fills, we should have a solution for the plastic bag. As long as it is dry, it is not wet, make sure it's dry, it's not smelly. You squish it and put it in there. And today, assuredly, as I said, there is someone who is buying the plastic bags and polythene, because they load them in bales and take them elsewhere. We have a memorandum of understanding with the organization in charge of collecting these plastic bags. So if we work together as a community, we can surely say bye to the havoc that is generated by the plastic bags and containers.